registration of voters, regulations laid in Parliament. We'll tell you why.
Later in the bulletin, we will delve into arguably the most common sexual complaint among men, premature ejaculation.
On mission tonight, polyclinics serving more than 15 communities in East Gonja municipality of Savannah region under resourced.
On the international front, preliminary report by South Africa's anti-corruption watchdog clears President Ramaphosa of any wrongdoing of a theft of cash from his luxury farm.
We have details of these stories and more coming up shortly. Don't go away.
Starting from the development in Boku, where a fact-finding mission by the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament to Boku on the conflict has been aborted. It is not the first time such a visit to the area has not happened. Scores of people have been killed and others maimed in the protracted conflict. Parliamentary correspondent Komla Kluche has been explaining why the scheduled visit was aborted.
The information we pick up is that members of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, about 10 of them, flew to Tamale this morning to visit the conflict-prone area of Boku. This is actually the second attempt that they have made to go and assess the security situation in Boku. We understand with this particular meeting, the 10 of them who were on the trip had arrived in Tamale and met with the Minister of Defense and also the Minister of Interior, Dominic Nitowo and Ambrose Derry, respectively. When they met them, well, the briefing they had was that there's been sporadic shooting in the conflict area the whole of Friday night and also Saturday, the whole of Saturday, and so the place was too volatile for them to be able to go and then do an assessment. In fact, the members of the committee planned visiting the place to assess what the security situation is and what recommendations they possibly could be making with respect to the prolonged conflict or killings that has engulfed the area. So they were not able to move from Tamale to even Bolga. My understanding also is that the ranking member on the committee, James Agalga, he was already in Bolga awaiting them to meet him up for them to get to the conflict area, but they were not able to even make it to Bolga. The security situation in Bolga over the time has become quite dangerous from what the briefing is that was given to members of the committee that they could not risk. In fact, sources within the committee tell us that even the military could not escort them from Tamale. They said they could not guarantee escorting them from Tamale at least to Bolga, where they would first converge and be able to make their way into Boku. Even efforts by members of the committee to meet with the regional security committee there in Bolga was unsuccessful because the briefings that they had from the defense minister and then the interior minister suggested that they were not going to be able to do that.
Right, so that's our parliamentary correspondent, Komla Kluche, updating us as reasons behind why the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, halfway through their journey to Boku, decided to come back to Accra. Let's pick the thoughts of security consultant and analyst and the Chief Executive Officer of Security Warehouse Company Limited, Dr. Adam Bona. Doc, a very good evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
The Select Committee reversed their decision midway, and they are saying that it was based on intelligence they had gathered. From where you sit, how would you assess the committee's decision in the first place to visit a volatile area like Boku?
Well, Esiedu, I have to be honest with you. It's good they needed to abort the mission, when they got to Tamale, because I had picked indication the moment they decided they were going to go, that if they attempt, they were going to ambush them. And so I just had to cross my fingers, and I spoke to some of them. Those who I did, because then you just don't get up and go into a serious conflict zone, which I would usually refer to as a war zone, without doing, a thorough risk assessment. They didn't.
You mean that
And
the security, the committee going would have been ambushed? That the information you had gathered?
Yes, they would have been ambushed. Because I had anonymous callers, calling me, because then you see, some of us work within the security circles. And so you receive a lot of intel, so much intel. And so for me, it's good they aborted the mission. They didn't even attempt, driving to Bolga, because going through Bolga itself was going to be something else. And so we should be thanking, our stars they didn't, because then we were going to have mass casualties. We were probably by now would have been thinking about by-elections. I have to be very honest with you. I don't know who gave them the advice to jet off from Accra, announce they are going, and they landed without any proper needful, what do you call it, a risk assessment of the situation. How were they going to go from Tamale to Bolga? Then from Bolga, you have to drive through Wale Wale and go through communities, to Boku. And they were actually going to go to Nalerigu. I mean, so you ask yourself, what were in the first place? What were they going to do? Right. What they were going to do for me, were, not defined. Were they going to talk about chieftaincy? Were they going on a peace mission? Were they actually going to talk about those who are selling firearms and profiting from the conflict? Or what were they going to do? Once these parameters have not been defined, you're going there, you are only going to commit suicide, if you ask me. And so it is good they did not go. They ended up in Tamale and came back to Accra.
And Doc, so would it have been easier if, for instance, the reason behind their visiting Boko been made public? For instance, if they had said we are going on a peace mission, would that have, given us a different scenario?
My point is that even if you are going on a peace mission, first of all, you have a warrant to arrest the new chief who the Nairi installed. That warrant has not been withdrawn. So first of all, you cannot go on a peace mission. You can't. Because if you go to the Nairi's palace, you are going to meet the Nairi. The Nairi, you don't decide who should sit around the Nairi. He would have the new chief around him. Are you going to arrest him? I mean, and so mine is that it was completely ill-timed and coupled with the fact that, I mean, it's not everything I can say. I just think that even though, the mission was not very clear, I think the place after the recent, fighting, things have calmed down a bit. And so they are deciding the decision to go for me. I don't know why they decided to do that, but we should be thanking our stars. They came, everybody, all of them came back, and there was no disturbance. If not, I don't think it would have been very palatable. And I have proposed, do that. The president should actually get a sole minister, one of his security ministers. He has 3 security ministers, the national security minister, interior minister, and defense. He should select one of them who will be in charge of Boku, where everybody reports to and he gives feedback to the president. At the moment, there's so much distrust if you are dealing with Boku. And so the people sometimes don't trust who they are talking to. Most often they will talk to some of us. You have to relay the information to those we equally trust to be able to send the information across, which I think is not very good.
And from your understanding of how all of this has played out, does the decision of the Interior and the Defense Committee to abort the mission further emboldening those that, you know, were planning, like you said, probably would have ambushed them and put them in harm's way. Does it give them the confidence that that zone is now becoming a no-go area, so nobody in Accra who does not understand the runnings of Bawku to come there and try and resolve the conflict?
Not really. I think that this, you can't say, the guys are already emboldened. So there's nothing, they don't care. They don't, you know, if you say emboldened, it's almost like, yeah, we chase you away. But the guys are emboldened. Listen, as the Interior and the Defense Minister told the committee when they arrived, there's been sporadic shooting in Bawku. You ask if you have your men on the ground, you know, in the region, they will tell you. There's been shooting upon shooting in Bawku in the last few days. So how do you just go there? Not that the guys are emboldened. Ask the military generals, the commanders who are on the ground, ask the police who are on the ground, how difficult it is to combat what is going on in Bawku. So it is not a joke. It is a war zone, and this goes to confirm the fact that until such a time that things are done right, I see this first of all as an embarrassment. They didn't do their work well. This is a very important, I mean, an organ of government, which is Parliament, a committee in charge of defense and interior, attempting to enter Bawku. They couldn't. You know, there was a time last year, Peace Council attempted that they could not go. Because, you know, you have to go, you need to know what is going on in Bawku to understand it. The people were armed. They said if they arrived, if they had tried, they will smell gunpowder. And I thought this was not a joke. They said they will let them smell. Some of them have never smelled sustained shooting for 5 minutes. Right. They were going to smell gunpowder. And I thought that was serious coming from, you know, anonymous people who were calling and sending messages. And so for me, I am thankful. I think we should be thanking our stars, the MPs who left Accra to go there, decided to abort the mission, and they are back, and they're, you know, everything is back to normal. If not, you know, after discussing Ashama and not knowing what to do with Ashaman, then you have a disaster again. I mean, that won't help.
And in wrapping up, Doc, so is it also your understanding that probably all along we have misdiagnosed the whole Bawku security situation, and you are proposing that we find a sole arbiter through whom information is passed to the president or from the president to the people? Does that give you confidence that this Bawku situation is resolvable? Is there an end in sight at a point?
Oh, Bawku situation is resolvable if we, you know, those who knows better are brought on. And I'm saying that within the president's government, he knows his security ministers. He knows who amongst them can be a sole minister to deal with it. The moment that is done, that is my solution. The moment that is done, I think that the issue of miscommunication and misdiagnosing whatever is, last year, we went to Bawku. I mean, I was part of a delegation that went to Bawku. We spent from morning, we left Bawku around this time, around 7 in the night, with the chopper back to Tamale. And we went there, went to the Bawku Nabes Palace, went to the regent in the Mamprusi area's palace, met the youth in the Mamprusi area, met the youth in the Kusasi area. And did you hear of any incident or anybody? Because it was properly planned and executed. But this time around, it looks like no one took these things into consideration, just wanted to go there. We should be thanking our stars. They came back and then they heeded to wise counsel. If not, that wouldn't have been good for us.
Doc, pleasure talking to you as always. Thank you very much for your thoughts.
Thank you.
Dr. Adam Bona, Chief Executive Officer of the Security Warehouse Company Limited and a security consultant as well. Certainly, Bawku will be part of the discussions in the coming week. Trust us to keep you updated when it does come up.
And away from Bawku, the Electoral Commission will have a hard time getting the new draft of Public Elections Registration of Voters Regulations 2022 laid in Parliament. The objections to the new CI is not just from the minority and civil society groups. Now, Asin Central MP Kennedy Japon says he is opposed to the use of Ghana card as the sole document for registering new voters.
The Asin Central MP wonders why one's passport cannot be used to identify him as a Ghanaian. Speaking on a Kumasi-based FM station last week, he refuted the Electoral Commission's assertion that many non-Ghanaians have the Ghana passport. According to the MP, what makes him realize that he is a Ghanaian is his passport, describing the decision by the Electoral Commission as bogus. He said, quote, "For Americans, even Ghanaians who have naturalized, they are so proud to hold an American passport. Ghana has people taking bogus decisions, and I wonder those who sit there and take such decisions." Unquote. Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jane Mensah, briefed Parliament Committee on the new draft of Public Elections Registration of Voters Regulations 2022.
Under this law, we are saying that you cannot come in through the guarantor system or use a passport to prove your citizenship.
Despite her defense, the minority remains opposed to the new constitutional instrument.
The proposed CI, which makes the Ghana card the sole requirement for voter registration, serves as a restraint on citizens' right to register and exercise their franchise in elections. The Electoral Commission is to undertake programs for the expansion of the registration of voters. Instead, the EC rather seeks to undertake a program for the restriction of the registration of voters.
But the majority insists the National Identification Authority system used for registering the Ghana card is more robust than that of the Electoral Commission's.
The Electoral Commission is saying that they admit that their own system is not foolproof. This is a much robust system, and so we want to, as the law provides, align ourselves so that moving forward, you sanitize the system and also ensure that the fraud in the system would be eliminated so that any winner in any election certainly will be appreciated.
The National Democratic Congress, NDC, has meanwhile directed the suspension of all campaigning activities in constituencies it has sitting MPs to allow its legislators to be present in the House at all times in order not to miss out in any crucial decision-making.
In other news tonight, it is the most common sexual complaint affecting 8 out of 10 men, with every man experiencing it at least once in their lifetime. In the following report, Emmanuel Samani delves into the myth, causes and treatment of premature ejaculation.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Whoa! As you know, this happens in a lot of bedrooms around the world. People get excited when the countdown begins, but they miss out on so much, with so much disappointment and unfulfillment, just like this champagne bottle that just popped. Now, for a lot of these so-called one-minute men, the expectations from a lot of women far exceeds the times. Now, I sampled some women, and this is what they expect our men, or these men, to last.
At least 30 to 45 minutes later.
When I love you, at least it should be an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
Okay, but if you don't love the person?
At least 30 minutes is okay.
5 minutes is too short. 40 minutes is okay.
Maybe 15 minutes, you're okay, ma'am. 5 minutes there, it's a no. 30 minutes is fine.
As a result, these unrealistic expectations lead most young men to abuse substances.
Some drink, if it makes it with condiments, if you used to it go well. So at that time, I used to do them well. Then feel it, but he helped me. If I say help me, he helps me a lot.
Okay. We are not supposed to get it.
So what do you smoke?
Only ganja.
Only ganja. So the ganja helps you out?
Yeah. If I smoke ganja, Charlie, guys, forget. If I smoke ganja, I feel okay. I will feel well.
But how long should sexual intercourse last? Well, according to healthymail.org, most men ejaculate between 5 and 10 minutes. Research has shown that on average, the ejaculate time is 5.5 minutes after penetration. Could this be classified as premature ejaculation? Here is Dr. Bernard Tobo, who is a lead consultant urologist at Shape Healthcare.
Generally, 5 to 7 minutes is said to be standard. By definition, by the way, premature ejaculation is when a gentleman or a man is not able to voluntarily delay ejaculation, and it causes him distress, causes the partner also distress, and then the relationship is also affected.
He says a lot of men encounter this problem.
Most commonly between the ages of 18 and 30 will experience one problem like that or the other. And for that subgroup of patients, you realize that most of them are not married.
But what causes premature ejaculation?
So you have people who have lifelong premature ejaculation. So right from the time that they started having sex, they started ejaculating, almost 100% anytime they penetrate, or even before they penetrate. And then you have some people who have acquired. So previously, they were having sex okay, they were lasting quite long, their partners were happy. Then along the line, because of certain conditions, they start going below the 1 to 3 minutes, mark. Then there are some people who have the variable. Variable means that most of the time, sex is good. Everybody is happy. But once in a while, you ejaculate very early. Then the last type is a subjective type. Subjective type in the sense that for these class of men, they tend to have normal durations. But when they compare the current situation to what used to be, they've realized that the time has reduced. And sometimes for these subjective types, you may find that their partners have very heightened, or great expectations. And that can also cause a lot of distress. With this lifelong one, there's been association with certain genetic traits. So probably the grandfather had it, the father had it, and then you, the son, you have inherited it.
And how can it be treated?
There are simple techniques. There's one we call the start-stop technique. Basically, when the couple are having sex and the male feels like ejaculating, he withdraws and then concentrate on other aspects of lovemaking. So more of foreplay. Akin to that, we have one we call the squeeze technique, where once again you have the sensation to ejaculate, and then your partner squeezes the head of the penis. That's a very most sensitive part of the male anatomy, but does it gently, squeezes it, and the sensation goes away. Then you go back to the act again, and you repeat it severally, 3-4 times, or as the case may be, severally, till you feel like both of you have had satisfaction. When these don't work, there's a place for a specialized exercise called Kegel's exercise. There are medications that can be used, and there are various types. There are types like gels which can be applied on the genitals or sprays. And the aim is to numb the genitals so that the partners can last longer. Some people use condoms because, once again, just to reduce the sensitivity. And then you have some other medications like, tramadol, which people abuse, unfortunately.
Premature ejaculation is a common and often distressing problem for men, causing distress for men and their partners. While there are treatments available from psychological methods to medical intervention, many men are unaware of what premature ejaculation is and how it can be treated. As such, there is a great need for further research and awareness into this issue to help those who suffer from premature ejaculation and allow them to have better quality of life and relationships. Emmanuel Samani, TV3 News, Accra.
Emmanuel Samani's report. In more news tonight, have you wondered what happens to your mobile handsets when it gets damaged? And did you know improper disposal of these handsets has health implications? In the following report, Christian Yale explores just how these devices could be disposed of without polluting the environment.
Modern technologies like computers, mobile phones, and all manner of gadgets have raised questions about their means of disposal when they outlive their usefulness. Our mobile phones are precious to us. But when they become obsolete, where and how are they discarded?
I throw it away. And in my house, I have some box that I put dead phones inside.
If I can't repair it at all, I just put it down. The scraps will come for it. We dispose every rubbish inside the government's bin, so we use that.
For me, probably I'll put it in the dustbin.
I also engaged some phone repairers who revealed they sell damaged phones to scrap dealers.
Formerly, we threw them away until we realized that some people need it, those who buy the condemned box. So we sell them, we just sell them, we give them to those people.
Sometimes we sell the pass. Sometimes we sell the pass. And sometimes too, we get some people where they come buy the condemned box. We sell give them.
And to when you say I say cry. At Agbogloshi, the purchase of electronic waste from mobile phones is a thriving business. Here, scrap dealers, after buying damaged phones from their owners, gather them and begin sorting.
We buy condemned mobile phones. Like if we buy them, we go come out the cover and take the bottle, give the evil people. Them today will break them and come out the board and throw the cover away. Whereas the copper day inside, if the rubber carve it, you're not going to use it to make money unless you go burn them. It's only that we can do to come out that copper.
They burn the insulation of the wires from mobile phones and other gadgets to extract the metals, including copper, lead, gold, and silver threads. The burning process releases thick plumes of smoke containing toxic substances into the atmosphere, with dire health consequences on residents. Scrap dealer Ibrahim admits the negative health impact of their work, but he is quick to add that it is the only means to get what they want from the e-waste.
Without that burning, we can't do our work. They didn't provide machines for us to be working for it. The way we did here, we didn't see it as any problem for our producer. But doctors, they tell us, this thing, you have problems, it harm you yourself.
In the absence of a regulation to check this industry, consumers and players determine what happens to products that have outlived their usefulness. Some users do not even know that not using appropriate methods to discard their old phones have an impact on the environment. Larry Kotoi is the Deputy Director of the e-waste unit of the Environmental Protection Agency.
We are incentivizing people. We cannot do this alone. We are seeking collaboration with people who are the importers of these packets. Currently, there's a World Bank funded project for the environmental health that into bring some interventions.
Now is the time for the country to figure out a cleaner, safer way to dispose of all this electronic junk. Christian Yali, TV3 News, Agbogloshi, Accra.
Now, the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, through its Forestry Plantation Development Fund, has begun sensitization on the importance of bamboo. The amazing plant, which has a unique rapid growth, could avert pollution and improve soil fertility, as well as be used as biofuel for construction. Ibrahim Abubakar has the rest of the story.
Bamboo plays an important role in protecting the planet from pollution, improving the soil, and reducing deforestation. It can be used as biofuel, food, building materials, and plays a large role in the local economy by creating job opportunities. Government of Ghana is stepping up effort to enhance bamboo plantation for economic growth and environmental protection. The Forestry Plantation Development Fund at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has begun building the capacity of queen mothers across the country in a bamboo plantation development project to motivate them plant more. Queen mothers in Ashanti, Ahafo, Bono and Bono East regions were brought together at the Forestry Commission Training Center in Ejuso for a sensitization training. Benito Usubio is the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Once we are able to get the Queen Mothers committed, it means we've got the traditional authorities committed. And once they come on board, they will help to take away the stigmatization of bamboo at the local and traditional level, where bamboo is seen as a nuisance. If you go to our villages and then you talk to them that, oh, can you plant bamboo? They'll tell you bamboo is a nuisance. Why should I plant it? One, it's just going to cover my land. Two, what's the benefit out of it? But now, we realize there are more than 1,500 uses of it, and they can even sell the pole to make money out of it.
Mamponhima Nana Ejiakuma Difie II urged all Queen Mothers to embrace the project.
Not only is it going to bring us money, but we are looking at whether we like it or not, our responsibility to help in global warming. I urge every Queen Mother in Ghana, every traditional leader who is a woman in Ghana to come on board. Come, let's replant bamboo in Ghana.
The Forestry Plantation Development Fund has assured to provide funds for the Queen Mothers to establish their private bamboo plantation. Also, the Queen Mothers have been guaranteed of access to ready market for the bamboo after cultivation and harvesting.
Away from the Ashanti region, a survey conducted by Star Ghana Foundation has revealed a high number of out-of-school girls in Ghana. The survey identified poverty, child marriage, early pregnancy, the absence of female teachers, among others, as factors affecting retention of girls in schools.
The gender disparity among girls at higher levels of education remains high. Girls are still underrepresented in some subjects, particularly science, technology, engineering, and mathematics (STEM). The Accra Forum sought to build consensus among stakeholders and renew commitment towards collaborations on strategies to secure girls' continuous access to quality education.
What we are saying is that when these girls go back to school, there is more, they need support to be in school. They need support for the care of the children that they leave at home. So there should be some material support for these girls who are going back to school so that they'll be able to stay in school and the childbirth wouldn't be a problem.
Executive Director of Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, noted that expanding equitable access to education requires that the larger issue of infrastructure development is addressed.
When there are no desks in schools, and we have 40% of our pupils in primary schools, in basic schools, not having access to desks, it affects more girls. Girls are more likely to drop out in school when there are no desks. Girls are less likely to be happy to sleep on the floor than boys. So the same issue may affect girls more or differently, negatively than boys. And that is why it's important for us to have a conversation about how we can influence government to commit more funds in building new schools.
Kofi Asare further deplored the inadequacy of budgetary allocation for basic education.
Financing architecture of our education system does not prioritize basic education. Basic education is not a priority. The priority of our budgeting system is secondary education. Only about 5% of the discretionary budget is coming to basic education this year. Only 5%. When that happens, there is fewer resources to buy the facilities and the aids that will make the school environment interesting for girls.
Eunice Agbenyaji is the head of programs at Star Ghana Foundation, organizers of a stakeholder forum.
If we have more girls in school, then they can grow into the kind of women that we need to be, part of decision making. Girls' education can actually contribute to poverty reduction. It can contribute to social development.
Chairperson for Star Ghana Foundation, Dr. Esther Ofeabuaje, regretted that sexual harassment remains a major barrier in educating girls and called for pragmatic steps to deal with it. A representative of a foreign Commonwealth and Development Office of the UK, Clara Osei-Boateng, called for pragmatic steps to address bottleneck in girls' educational needs to spur holistic development.
Now, mastering the art of public speaking is a skill that can take years to develop. Many young people and students shy away from public speaking contests due to fear, tension, shyness and anxiety. There's more in the following report.
Public speaking is one area that has not been well explored to give young people the practical experiences they need to speak more fluently, effectively and confidently. The Young Debaters is one dedicated program which has been producing speakers every year to participate in the International Public Speaking Competition in the UK.
We believe that our youth today need to know how to stand on the world stage and express themselves convincingly. In our school system these days, there are not a lot of opportunities for them for public speaking. So we put in place this program that will allow them to actually come, share their opinions, share their ideas, not in a confrontational way as is usually done with debate.
Although it seems people do not appreciate the relevance of these activities for students, the TYD has since its inception been training students for global competitions. After weeks of rigorous training, student participants from schools like the Accra High School, Accra Girls SHS, Akosombo International School, Chemu SHS and Ghana International School have been engaging in tight competitions.
It has been really good. I have met new people and have learned new things, and it is very important for me to actually be able to share my ideas.
Debating is actually a good thing. It has to expose you to the world, and it helps you to think on the spot.
I, for one, have gotten the benefits of acquiring more knowledge, and I encourage my fellow youth out there to also put their phones aside and get into more practical stuff.
My experience with the program so far is that it's been actually very good. I've learned a lot of things about speaking, which is actually very beneficial.
Any of these students who wins the final contest will represent Ghana in the UK. According to some teachers, it is an avenue to enhance the potentials of the student.
The students, majority of them are not confident. So such programs exposes them to different communication skills.
This Young Debaters program is quite unique, different from other debating programs. This is not just about speaking for or against emotions, it's about expressing your views in a unique way. So I think that this program should be very much encouraged.
Programs manager of the Young Educators Foundation, Salome Jakpasu, said there is a need to offer extracurricular activities that aid the total education of children.
We are trying to build our youth in different ways, build their confidence, build their public speaking skills, build their critical thinking skills, and all of those things that are really important in our world today, especially if you want to export them onto the world stage where you'll meet people from different backgrounds, different countries, other youth that are more exposed than them.
We have more news coming up shortly. Don't go away.
The sweet scent of rose in the morning brings me so much joy. Inspired by damask rose and infused with 100% natural rose oil. Introducing new Clay Soft Perfume Beats Washing Powder. It's like bringing a garden with you everywhere with this wonderful perfume. Take a garden with you everywhere you go with Clay Soft Perfume Beats Washing Powder.
The COVID-19 vaccine is safe and effective. I encourage all pregnant women to go in for the vaccine. And to add to this, I have a beautiful bouncing baby girl who is a year old now.
Remember, we are not safe until all eligible persons are vaccinated. Protect yourself, your family, and your community. Get vaccinated now.
This is the breaking news. About 2,500 people 2,500 people have been.
We'll be right back after a commercial break.
When stubborn coughs, colds and catarrh interrupt your life, get fast relief with Stop Cough. The Stop Cough range is suitable for adults, children and babies.
In today's breaking news, Alex is back and...
There is a Stop Cough for every cough and for everyone.
There surely is.
Ask your pharmacist about the right Stop Cough for you. The Stop Cough range is manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FD.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today.
0302 200 390
or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Mission is supported by the Star Ghana Foundation and the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office. Let's take you to Makango in the East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region, where the only polyclinic serving more than 15 communities there lacks a theatre and a medical lab. Komladum reports patients have to be referred to faraway Salaga or Yeji for basic laboratory tests, while wards are combined due to inadequate space.
It's a busy day in the island community at Awanakopa. Children below 15 are going for fishing. Others are returning. But in the home of Mary Nyado, a mother of 10, there is trouble. Her twin 6-month-old children are unwell, but she has no means of taking them to the Makango Polyclinic.
My twin children are unwell, but there's no fuel to power the boat to take us to Makango Polyclinic.
The Makango Polyclinic is the nearest advanced facility for residents in Awanakopa and other small villages beyond the water body. Even for them, it could take at least 3 to 4 hours to get there. At the facility, patients are streaking in for various health needs. But health workers here say despite the facility being recently opened, there are serious needs. Dr. Dorcas Arthur is the officer in charge.
We have a lot of challenges. We don't have enough space, and then the theater. Another challenge is the lighting system. When there's light off, we can't do anything. If somebody wants to pass a cannula or a catheter, there's light off. We use our phones. The facility drains when it rains.
The lack of space has forced workers here to combine wards. Women and children share one ward, while this wooden partition serves as a dispensary. East Gonja Municipal Health Director Zakaria Kasim says the absence of a laboratory and a theatre for the Makango Polyclinic is of concern to the municipality.
Our community, they wind sand there. So they take levy from the tipper trucks that wind the sand. So they have some money, and the community has agreed to put up a theater, which we are still lobbying, because these things take time. But we pray that by the close of the year, when the rains stop, the theater will be constructed. Then we also liaise with our politicians and prominent people within the Salga municipality to donate some few equipment for us.
While the health personnel wait for interventions, they will make do with what is available.
We've also had a case whereby the patient was traveling, had an attack. It's an asthmatic patient, came here as well. We don't have oxygen. So, but we try to manage the patient. We having cases, RTAs, they will come. You see, their main source of transportation is motor. And then tricycling, that's the motor king. So when they get accidents like that, they do come here. We try to stabilize, then we refer.
The Minister for Fisheries, his mother comes from Makango. And from the information I had, she even championed the construction of that facility in Makango. So we have submitted a proposal to her to get us a laboratory for now. We just want the structure, and because there's a microscope, then we can start with the basic ones.
Ghana failed to meet the Millennium Development Goal, now Sustainable Development Goal target of reducing maternal mortality rate by 75% by 2015. Even with 7 years to the 2030 targets of the SDGs, access to health services for many women in rural communities like Makango remains a challenge. The East Gonja municipality of the Savannah region has 39 health facilities, 1 polyclinic, which is the Makango Polyclinic, 20 CHIPS facilities serving more than 122,000 people in the municipality, plus the Salaga Municipal Hospital. But the commensurate number of community health nurses, doctors and physician assistants mean the patient-to-nurse ratio keeps widening. Komla Adom, TV3 News, Makango.
And that's it for Mission. Mission is supported by the Star Ghana Foundation and the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office. We have sports news coming up shortly. Don't go away.
When the sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between. On Ghana Tonight, it's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda for transformation and national development. The big and important stories are treated from the human interest angle, while the facts and the figures are painted with precision. So now, let's cut the convention and start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okamsi.
Ghana Tonight shows Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on TV3.
Sports segment is brought to you by
Consolidated Bank Ghana, CBG.
It's time for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alote. We start off with the Premier League, and Thomas Partey has spoken about his touching tribute to Christian Atsu in Arsenal's comeback win over Bournemouth.
I still don't believe Atsu is no more, which is very sad. It was a sad moment. During that week or the week before, I was thinking a lot, keep thinking all these things, comparing myself also, because it could have been anybody, and it was him, so I was just sad. And I had a shirt on the day before the game. I called the kitman to print this for me, begging him to do it for me. I just want to wear it. And when I scored, I was not going to show at that point, because I know it's not the right time. We are losing 2-1, and we have to win this game. I believe we're going to win the game, so we have to
take the ball quick and go. So I was just going to clean my face, and I had that under in the show. So people won't misunderstand. I didn't want to show, or I was scared of getting a card or anything, but that was not the thinking I had that time. I wanted to show. If I would have showed if we are winning 1-0. So it's just the situation.
Staying on the English Premier League, Arsenal restore their 5-point lead following a 3-0 victory over Fulham at Craven Cottage. Meanwhile, Manchester United could only manage a point in a goalless draw at Old Trafford against Southampton.
And off we go here at Craven. Given the wonderful campaign they're enjoying and witnessing. Well worked here for Martinelli, who's in behind Tete. It's an own goal off Robinson. And Arsenal take the lead. But the goal is disallowed. So it stays at 0-0. What will Trossard conjure this time? Leno has stayed, and Leno's beaten. It's 2-0. Gabriel with the header.
But it's a great leap from Gabriel. He gets away from his marker far too easy, but credit him the way.
There by Saliba. And room to move into for Xhaka. Trossard just fizzed at him, but he took it really well. He's got past Tete. And it's 2. Arsenal here are coasting now. It's Martinelli.
He's got to do better. He doesn't even fancy the jump. He just stands still. Surely at that point there, when you see the flight of the ball coming in, go and attack it.
Didn't appear to be clear and obvious anyway.
Yeah.
So still goalless there. Trossard here for Arsenal. Odegaard took it well. On he goes. 3-0. Fantastic finish. Fantastic first half for Arsenal.
Skill is very easy.
The last kick of the first half. And what a sensational first half for Arsenal.
Well, away we go. Last Sunday's loss to Liverpool will remain long in the memory of Manchester United. It's loose from Manchester United. They might be punished for it. No, because De Gea is there. Alcaraz. It's been a good spell for Southampton, despite that quick break for Manchester United. Sulemana, Wan-Bissaka caught on his heels. Sulemana, that's a big block in there by Varane. Here we go, boos from Old Trafford. Ward-Prowse! Oh, for all the world, I thought that was going to go in. Well, we've been here before with Southampton's free kick master. Oh, and it wasn't that far away.
Staying on the Manchester United game, midfielder Casemiro is facing a 4-game ban after receiving a straight red card during Sunday's goalless draw with Southampton. The Brazilian was originally given a yellow card by referee Anthony Taylor for a first-half challenge on Southampton midfielder Carlos Alcaraz, but it was upgraded to a red card after the challenge was reviewed by VAR. Erik ten Hag's side face losing the 31-year-old for the upcoming games against Fulham, the FA Cup matchup against Newcastle, and some other 2 Premier League games against Brentford and Everton. That will be all for sports this evening. I am Aniela Alute. Up next is entertainment news.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water.
Tonight in this segment, 2022 Ghana's Most Beautiful winner, Queen Tonteya Dramani, has launched her Kaya Lahakani project in Tamale. The project seeks to reduce Kaya's participation by young women and equip them with vocational and occupational skills.
The colorful event saw a powerful representation of traditional authorities, politicians, and other influential personalities from the North. The vision of the Kaya Lahakani project is to reduce the rate at which young women and girls from the North participate in Kayaye. Teya gave an overview of the project.
The Kaya Lahkani project seeks to annually train young women and girls in different vocations and also provide these young women and girls with available employment opportunities. Our vision is to reduce the rate of young women and girls from northern Ghana participating in Kaya Youth. And our mission is to educate young women and girls on the risks of Kaya Youth and equipping them with skills and appropriate tools for employment.
Northern Regional Minister Alhaji Alhassan Shani Shaibu lauded TV3 for using the Ghana's most beautiful platform to unearth talents in the country. He appealed to sons and daughters from the region to support the Kaya Lahkani project.
I therefore applaud the organizers of this project for their commitment to empower young girls and for their recognition in the importance of investing in their training and most importantly for complementing government's efforts to make life better for the young girls.
General Manager of TV at Media General, Francis Doku, said the Ghana's most beautiful platform continue to groom young talents in the country whose projects have impacted society over the past 15 years.
As you know, Ghana's Most Beautiful has been very important show or project on TV3 over the past 15 years. We've organized this very important pageant that brings together very confident, beautiful young ladies from all the regions in Ghana. Not only to come and show how beautiful they are, but also to represent their regions and portray the region very well in terms of its tourism potential, the trade opportunities, the cultural aspects of the region, and generally to market each of those regions.
For this year, the project is expected to train 100 young women in vocational occupations and equip them with good skills so that they are able to care for themselves. 10 sewing machines were presented to some Kaya girls under the Kaya Lahkani project.
Congratulations to Taya. Then, amongst the 10 sewing machines, they also gave out 3 hair dryers and 4 smoke weaving machines to the ladies. Congratulations to all of them. In other entertainment news this evening, it looks like the debate on who originated hip-life music in Ghana is not dying anytime soon. Renowned record producer Fred Che-Mensah has said that despite couching the name, hip-life music has started way back before Reggie Rockstone came into Ghana. He acknowledged veteran musician Jedu Bleambule as one of the pioneers of the genre.
The issue in terms of the hip life music has started already, but it wasn't named hip life. Ambule had done rap music in 1974 on this thing before it started. So the rap music, when we say who was one of the first to have rap on music, I can say Ambule. Yes, Ambule did it, but he didn't name it as hip. Yes,
In more news tonight, renowned actor and aspirant of the Ayawaso West Wuogon NDC parliamentary primaries, John Dumelo, says his contender and one-time good friend, Fred Nuama, is a liar. Speaking on Accra-based UTV, Dumelo denied ever giving his blessings to Fred Nuama to contest the Ayawaso West Wuogon seat, as claimed earlier by his friend. Coming up, international news.
South Africa's anti-corruption watchdog has cleared President Cyril Ramaphosa of any wrongdoing in a parliamentary report into a cover-up scandal that has tarnished his reputation. The public protector said it has notified implicated parties of the parliamentary findings of its probe over the theft of large amounts of cash from Ramaphosa's luxury Pala Pala farm, something the president is accused of having attempted to conceal. The scandal, which erupted in June, involved about $500,000 in cash that Ramaphosa acknowledged was stolen from beneath sofa cushions at his ranch. The report found the head of the Presidential Protection Unit, to whom Ramaphosa reported the crime, acted improperly, investigating the case directly instead of reporting it to the police, according to extracts published by the several media outlets.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to a close. Thank you very much for spending the last hour with us. My name is Martin Esiedu-Date.
And I am Portia Gabo. Remember, we have Date Rush, the reunion going on live.
Yeah. Right after this, Date Rush.
Yanara Sassani, Airport in my Mojana.